I'm not someone who likes to dwell on the past, but if you're watching this, you need to hear the truth. I once worked as a private chef for a major celebrity, Diddy. When I first stepped into the mansion, I felt like I had entered a different world. The sprawling estate, with its marble floors and crystal chandeliers, was a far cry from the cramped kitchens I had worked in before. I had always dreamed of cooking for the elite, and now, here I was, preparing meals for one of the most famous celebrities in the world. The kitchen was a chef's paradise, state-of-the-art equipment, rare ingredients, and a team of talented professionals. At first, everything seemed perfect. The hours were long, but the pay was generous, and the prestige of working for Diddy was worth every late night. But as the days turned into weeks, I began to notice things that didn't add up. The shipments of ingredients were always handled with an unusual level of secrecy. Our supervisor, a man who never removed his sunglasses, would personally inspect every delivery, his expression unreadable. When I asked about the strict protocols, he simply said, "It's part of the process. Don't worry about it." I tried to brush off my unease, chalking it up to the high-stakes nature of the job. But then came the whispers, hushed conversations between colleagues that stopped the moment I entered the room. I overheard snippets of phrases like the new order and keeping things quiet, but no one would explain what they meant. It was late one night, after a particularly grueling event, that I found the bone. I was cleaning up, my hands moving mechanically as I cleared scraps from the counter. My fingers brushed against something hard, and I picked it up, expecting a piece of broken ceramic. But it wasn't ceramic. It was a bone, small, delicate, and unmistakably human. I stood there, frozen, holding it up to the light. My mind raced, trying to make sense of what I was seeing. Maybe it was a prank, or a prop left behind from a photo shoot. But the more I examined it, the more certain I became. This was no prop. The bone was smooth, almost polished, with no signs of decay. It hadn't come from any animal I had ever worked with. My stomach churned as I recalled the whispers, the secrecy, the cryptic notes on the invoices. Was it possible that the gourmet meals we were preparing weren't what they seemed? Over the next few days, I became obsessed with uncovering the truth. I started keeping a secret journal, documenting every suspicious detail I noticed. The shipments arrived from unnamed suppliers, their invoices filled with codes and cryptic messages. One recurring note read, "Approved for the feast," but no one would explain what it meant. I began to scrutinize every aspect of the kitchen's operations. The meats arrived in pristine, carefully sealed packages, almost as if they were hiding something. I compared invoices, checked supplier names, and even peeked into storage rooms when I thought no one was watching. One night, after a private event, I confided in a sous chef I trusted. "Have you noticed anything strange about the new shipments?" I asked in a low voice. His expression darkened, and he muttered, "I try not to think about it. Just follow orders." I pressed on. "But don't you wonder why everything is so secretive? Why the deliveries are always so discreet?" He hesitated before whispering, "Some things are better left unknown. The ones who ask too many questions don't last here." His words sent an icy dread through me, but I couldn't let it go. I needed answers. The storm that night was relentless, the rain pounding against the windows like a warning. The mansion was unusually silent, the kind of quiet that made every sound feel amplified. As I finished my closing duties, I heard a faint noise from behind a locked storage door, a door I had never been permitted to enter. My pulse quickened as I moved closer. Through a small window in the door, I peered inside. What I saw on the other side made my stomach churn. The room was dimly lit, filled with stacks of documents, photographs, and an open ledger. I recognized some of the faces, wealthy businessmen, politicians, celebrities. But what truly horrified me were the notes scrawled beside their names. Words like harvest, shipment complete, and special order repeated across the pages. My heart pounded as I pieced together the awful truth. This wasn't just a high-end kitchen. It was a front for something unspeakable, a secret network supplying human flesh to the ultra-elite. From that moment, I lived in constant fear. I hid my journal, leaving a thin dusting of flour over the pages to check if anyone tampered with them. Every buzz of my phone sent a jolt of anxiety through me. I felt like I was being watched, like unseen eyes followed my every move. The mansion had transformed from a place of fine dining into a prison of secrets. Each day, I dreaded going to work, knowing the truth behind the meals I prepared. Every cut of meat, every plated dish, it all carried a sinister weight. My mind raced with questions. Who was behind this? How far did this go? And most terrifying of all, what would happen to me if they knew I had figured it out? I began to notice subtle changes in the way my colleagues treated me. The friendly small talk dwindled, replaced by guarded glances and clipped responses. The supervisor with the sunglasses seemed to linger near me more often, his presence a silent reminder of the unspoken rules. One afternoon, while preparing a dish for a private event, I accidentally nicked my finger with a knife. As I reached for a bandage, I noticed the supervisor watching me intently. "Be careful," he said, his voice low and measured. "We can't afford any mistakes here." His words felt like a threat, and I couldn't shake the feeling that he knew more than he let on. The breaking point came during a high-profile dinner. The guest list included some of the most powerful people in the world: politicians, CEOs, and celebrities. As I plated the final course, a wave of nausea washed over me. The dish I was preparing was one of the most requested items on the menu, a delicacy reserved for special occasions. But now, knowing the truth, I couldn't bring myself to serve it. I excused myself, claiming I felt ill, and retreated to the walk-in fridge. There I sat in the cold, dim light, clutching my journal and trying to steady my breathing. I knew I couldn't stay silent any longer. But exposing the truth would come at a cost, one I wasn't sure I was ready to pay. In the days that followed, I began to plan my escape. I copied the most damning evidence from my journal, names, dates, and coded messages, and stored it in a secure location. I reached out to a journalist I had met years ago, someone I trusted to handle the story with care. But even as I took these steps, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched. The mansion, once a symbol of success, had become a labyrinth of danger. Every shadow seemed to hold a threat, every whisper a warning. I knew I had to act quickly, before the truth consumed me, or worse, before it was too late. The night I left the mansion for the last time, the storm had returned, the rain falling in sheets as I slipped out the back door. I carried nothing but a small bag of essentials and the evidence I had gathered. My heart pounded as I made my way to the edge of the property, every sound making me jump. But I didn't look back. I couldn't. The life I had once dreamed of was gone, replaced by a nightmare I would carry with me forever. As I disappeared into the night, I vowed to expose the truth, no matter the cost. The world needed to know what was happening behind the closed doors of the elite. And I was the only one who could tell them.